And that, guys, was the last we saw of the DJI Avata. I don't know what happened. We were behind it, me and my spotter, and we were going through the woods and, you know, tracking behind it, keeping an eye on it, and out the other end of the woods, signal just went completely. And, you know, it wasn't even that far of a distance. It all of a sudden just went. The idea was to go through to the other end of the woods and just put it in a hover and then actually physically go there and then land it properly. You can do that with these drones because obviously they pretty much fly themselves. And that's the problem, I think, here. So it did actually go to return to home. You saw on the video, it said fail safe, and it was going to return to home. Didn't want it to do that because obviously I'm in the woods. So, you know, I didn't want it to come up over the woods and then try and land through the trees. That was going to be bad. So I stopped the return to home process by hitting the start-stop button on the remote, or the pause button, which seemed to work. That stopped it and it put it back in a hover. But the problem was, as we were walking towards the drone, it kept having an intermittent signal on the controller as well. So then it basically just tried to do it again. And yeah, this was the problem. So I was battling reception, trying to stop it, trying to start it. Yeah, and it was getting into a right mess. And I thought, well, I can hear the drone. Let's try and get to it before it does anything else. And yeah, so it wasn't successful. And we spent the last, 2 or 3 hours, searching around in the field, trying to find where this drone had actually landed. Now, which brings me on to the next bit. The ESC beeping had been enabled. I hadn't quite got to figure out how all of that side works. So normally on an FPV drone, like if it loses signal, the drone will just beep like crazy. So wherever it is, wherever it's gone down, you can actually hear, an audible tone, and you can go and kind of navigate to it. This didn't seem to do that. When I finally walked to a certain part of the field, I got a video feed, and the drone had landed. It had actually landed somewhere in the field. I don't know why, it shouldn't have done. But anyway, if anything, it should have just tried to go home. But it had landed, and then I could see in the goggles, nice view. I didn't actually record any of this footage because, yeah, stupidly I was trying to do other things. But it had landed, and it was in a nice area. It looked like it was in an area upright where it potentially has just nicely landed. I thought, let's try and take it off. Let's try and launch it, give it some beans, and it actually went up and then caught something, obviously a bit of bush or branch or something like that, and then just flipped on its back. That was that. Thought, okay, right, fine, we won't. My bad, we won't do that again. Now let's try and figure out how we get this beeping to work, like for the ESC. Maybe there's a button on the controller. Looking for all the menus. All of a sudden, goggles completely froze up with a message saying that the drone was overheating, and a big OK button in the middle. And all you could do was hit the OK button. So I could still see the feed behind, so I didn't hit the OK button for quite a long while. But then I'm at a loss because, all I can see is branches. It could be anywhere. And then there's no other way of going through the menus to activate a beep. Now, this is just, okay, right, I've pushed the limits on it a little bit, and it's my fault, totally hands up. I'm never going to say, it's DJ's fault, but this brings onto a thing. These drones, why have they not got a beep? Why haven't they not got this as standard? It loses connection from the controller. Why doesn't it start beeping like crazy? Like any, I know you have to configure an FPV drone to do this, but this is a DJI thing here. We should have a loud beep so that you can tell where the drone is. Okay, that aside, why is it overheated on the ground? Okay, these air units and stuff, if you know anything about FPV, they do get hot, and they do, mostly they will require a fan if you're using them on the ground. So I've done a lot of ground-based stuff on RC cars as well. You normally have to put a fan on if you're driving slowly and there's not any airflow over the air unit. So they do get hot, I realise that 100%. But that is a bit of a flaw there, because if the whole thing shuts down, then you've got no way of finding where the drone is. What I could have done if the drone hadn't have overheated was connect up my phone to the goggles and open the DJI Fly app, and then actually see a physical GPS position on a map of where that drone actually is, and then it would probably bring across the flight records and stuff like that at that time. But no. So my next port of call was, what can we do here? Can we look on the data on the goggles? Can we extract the data from the goggles somehow? No, you can't. These are the new goggles. They don't record OSD in the same way as you would if you had a proper FPV drone. So like OSD, like the overlay with all the GPS information on, doesn't record like an overlay. It just all you get on the SD card for the new goggles are basically movie files and JPEGs images. So yeah, there was no way of finding its last position other than one feature in the goggles, which basically goes the last 30 seconds of the footage, so you can see where you kind of ended up. And obviously you've seen that right at the beginning of the video. I'll insert it again here. And that was that. So looking in that position, scoured that area completely.
Pacing around with a radio.
Lost the drone and we've sent it out the search parties. Where's Helen? Wave. I don't know if I can see you in the camera. Yeah, I can see you in the distance.
Again this morning, spent 2 hours, done like 20,000 steps, which is okay because I'm going on holiday soon, so I could do with the extra to work out. But yeah, just really disappointing. I've not managed to find the drone. And yeah, it's a shame because the footage is absolutely brilliant. Like it's amazing footage. It's amazing footage in the goggles. Like what you can see is actually moved on from the previous kind of DJI FPV stuff. My self-built stuff and all that. So I'm really excited to see what is going to happen going forward with supposed to be a new air unit coming out. So you can put this on self-built drones. Anyway, point is, we had a big problem here, and I don't really still understand what really happened. It's been a while since I've crashed or lost the DJI drone. You can kind of take it if you lose FPV stuff, because you are on your own on that. There's no safety nets or anything like that. But this is bad, and the main reason I think this problem happened is down to our stupid rule that we've got in the UK, where the power limit for the transmitter and the radio link is just clobbered. You're not allowed to run. We're not allowed to run the same amount of power as America is, say for example, and it's really silly because it doesn't really make that much difference to anything other than the range. Phones put out more power than these things, so it makes the drone safer. It makes everything safer because you're less likely to lose a signal when a drone go and do something that it shouldn't do. Anyway, don't want to rant too much about this one. There's a new drone on the way, so I'm going to carry on doing some more stuff, and yeah, catch you next time.